Welcome to CEO's Library, the 1% bookshelf, where we dive into the most impactful business books shaping industries and driving innovation. I'm your host, and today we're exploring a book that's revolutionizing how we think about personal finance and investing. What if I told you that being good with money has little to do with how smart you are and a lot to do with how you behave? That's the central premise of our book today, The Psychology of Money by Morgan Housel. Over the next 20 minutes, we'll unpack some of the most powerful insights from this game-changing book. We'll explore why your personal experiences matter more than raw intelligence when it comes to managing money, how luck and risk play bigger roles in our financial lives than we'd like to admit, and why having enough might be the most important financial skill you can develop. So whether you're a seasoned investor or just starting to take control of your finances, buckle up. You're about to gain insights that could transform your relationship with money. Let's dive in. Let's start with a tale of two men that perfectly encapsulates the core message of Housel's book. On one side, we have Ronald Read. Ronald was a janitor in Vermont who never earned more than a modest salary. He lived frugally, drove a used car, and enjoyed simple pleasures like chopping wood. When Ronald passed away in 2014 at the age of 92, he shocked everyone by leaving behind a fortune of $8 million to local charities. On the other hand, we have Richard Fosconi. Richard was everything Ronald wasn't on paper. A Harvard-educated former Merrill Lynch executive, Richard retired in his 40s to become a philanthropist. He had a successful career, a high-profile job, and all the trappings of wealth. Yet, in 2008, Richard declared bankruptcy in the wake of the financial crisis. Now here's the million-dollar question, or should I say, the $8 million question: how did a janitor outsave and outinvest a high-flying Wall Street executive? The answer lies not in their intelligence or their education, but in their behavior. Ronald Read understood the power of living below his means and consistent, long-term investing. He didn't try to time the market or make risky bets. He simply saved what he could and let compound interest do its magic over decades. Richard Fosconi, despite his Harvard education and Wall Street experience, fell into the trap that many of us do. He likely overestimated his ability to predict market movements and took on more risk than he could handle when things went south. This story illustrates Housel's key point. Your financial success isn't determined by what you know, but by how you behave. It's not about being the smartest person in the room, but about having the discipline to stick to a plan, the humility to live below your means, and the patience to let your wealth grow over time. So let me ask you this: when you think about your own financial journey, are you behaving more like Ronald or Richard? Are you focusing on flashy investments and trying to outsmart the market? Or are you steadily saving, living below your means, and letting time work its magic? Take a moment to reflect on your own money story. What experiences have shaped your views on saving, spending, and investing? Maybe you grew up in a household where money was tight, and that's made you a diligent saver. Or perhaps you've had some early success in your career, which has made you more comfortable taking risks. Understanding your money story is crucial because, as Housel points out, we're all working with limited information. Your personal experiences with money make up maybe 0.001% of what's happened in the world, but maybe 80% of how you think the world works. By recognizing our biases and the limitations of our personal experiences, we can start to make more rational, balanced financial decisions. We can learn from both the Ronalds and the Richards of the world, taking the best lessons from each approach. Now let's talk about something that makes a lot of people uncomfortable when it comes to finance: the role of luck. We love to attribute financial success purely to skill and hard work. And while those certainly play a role, Housel argues that luck and risk are far more important than we'd like to admit. To illustrate this, let's look at the story of Bill Gates. We all know Gates as the co-founder of Microsoft and one of the wealthiest people in the world. His intelligence and business acumen are undeniable, but there's a detail in Gates's story that often gets overlooked. In 1968, Gates's high school, Lakeside School in Seattle, got a computer terminal. This was at a time when most universities didn't even have computer labs. Out of the 303 million high school-age people in the world at that time, how many do you think had access to a computer? The answer, about 300, and Gates was one of them. Gates himself has acknowledged this stroke of luck. He once said, "If there had been no Lakeside, there would have been no Microsoft." Now, this doesn't diminish Gates' incredible achievements. He absolutely made the most of this opportunity, but it does highlight how random chance, in this case, being born at the right time, in the right place, to parents who could send him to a school with a computer, played a crucial role in his success. The point here isn't to discount the role of skill and hard work. It's to recognize that success, especially outsized, astronomical success, often involves a heavy dose of luck. And the flip side of this is also true. Failure can often involve bad luck, even for very skilled people. Understanding this has two important implications for how we think about money. First, it should make us more humble about our successes and more compassionate about others' failures. If you've done well financially, it's okay to feel proud of your achievements, but remember that you probably had some tailwinds helping you along the way. And if you're struggling, don't be too hard on yourself. You might be facing headwinds that others don't see. Second, it should inform how we plan for the future. Since we can't control luck, the best we can do is to position ourselves to benefit from good luck and protect ourselves from bad luck. This is where Housel's idea of room for error comes in. It's the financial equivalent of defensive driving. You wear a seatbelt not because you plan to crash, but because you want to be protected if something unexpected happens. In your financial life, building room for error might mean keeping a larger emergency fund than you think you need, diversifying your investments more than seems necessary, being more conservative in your return assumptions when planning for retirement. These strategies might seem overly cautious, but they acknowledge the role that chance plays in our financial lives. They give you a buffer against bad luck and position you to take advantage of good luck when it comes your way. So, ask yourself, how much room for error do you have in your financial plan? Are you prepared for unexpected setbacks? Have you given yourself the flexibility to capitalize on unexpected opportunities? Remember, the goal isn't to predict the future or to try to create good luck. It's to create a financial plan that can thrive in a range of possible futures, acknowledging that luck and risk will always play a role. Now let's shift gears and talk about something that might seem counterintuitive: the strange allure of pessimism in finance. Have you ever noticed how people who predict economic doom and gloom seem to get more attention than those with optimistic outlooks? Housel points out a fascinating phenomenon. In the world of finance, pessimism sounds smart, optimism sounds naive. Let's do a little thought experiment. Imagine you're at a cocktail party and you overhear two people discussing the stock market. The first person says, "I think the market is going to crash next year. There are clear signs of a bubble and it's only a matter of time before it all comes crashing down." The second person says, "I think the market will continue to grow steadily. Innovation is accelerating and there are great opportunities ahead." Which of these people sounds smarter to you? If you're like most people, you probably thought the pessimist sounded more intelligent and well-informed. But here's the kicker. Historically, optimists have been right far more often than pessimists when it comes to the overall trajectory of the economy and the stock market. Despite wars, recessions, and countless crises, the US stock market has returned an average of about 10% per year over the long term. So why does pessimism sound so smart? Housel suggests a few reasons. 1. Optimism sounds like a sales pitch. Pessimism sounds like someone trying to help you. 2. Pessimism feels like it's saving you from danger. Optimism feels like it's urging you to take a risk. 3. Pessimistic news grabs our attention more readily. It plays into our instinctual fight-or-flight response. This bias towards pessimism can have real consequences for our financial decisions. It might make us too conservative in our investments, causing us to miss out on long-term growth opportunities. It might make us overreact to short-term market downturns, selling at the worst possible time. So how can we combat this bias? Here are a few strategies. 1. Zoom out. When you hear a pessimistic prediction, try to put it in historical context. Has the market faced similar challenges before? How did it respond? 2. Separate signal from noise. Much of the day-to-day financial news is just noise. Focus on long-term trends rather than short-term fluctuations. 3. Seek out balanced viewpoints. Make a conscious effort to expose yourself to both optimistic and pessimistic views. The truth often lies somewhere in the middle. 4. Remember that progress doesn't preclude problems. The world can be getting better on average while still facing serious challenges. Both can be true at the same time. By being aware of our tendency to give more credence to pessimistic views, we can make more balanced, rational financial decisions. We can cultivate a realistic optimism that acknowledges risks, but also recognizes the tremendous capacity for growth and progress in our economy. Now let's talk about a concept that might be the most important, yet least understood idea in personal finance: the psychology of enough. Housel tells a striking story about Rajat Gupta. Gupta was the former head of McKinsey, one of the most prestigious consulting firms in the world. He sat on the boards of Goldman Sachs and Procter & Gamble. By any measure, he was incredibly successful and wealthy. But in 2012, Gupta was convicted of insider trading. He had passed confidential information to a hedge fund manager, allowing the fund to make millions in illegal profits. The question is, why? Why would someone who had already achieved such tremendous success risk it all? The answer, Housel suggests, lies in the difficulty of knowing when you have enough. Gupta was already worth tens of millions of dollars, but he was surrounded by people worth hundreds of millions or even billions. In that context, his wealth might have felt inadequate. He might have felt the need to keep reaching for more, even if it meant crossing ethical and legal lines. This story illustrates a crucial point. The most powerful trick in finance is getting the goalpost to stop moving. Without a clear sense of enough, there's always the temptation to take on more risk, to push for more growth, to sacrifice more of your time and peace of mind in pursuit of more wealth. But enough is not just about curbing greed. It's about understanding what truly matters to you. It's about aligning your financial decisions with your values and life goals. For some, enough might mean having the financial freedom to quit a high-stress job and pursue a passion. For others, it might mean having the resources to provide for their family and contribute to causes they care about. The point is, enough is personal. It's not about hitting a specific number in your bank account. It's about reaching a point where you feel secure and satisfied. So how can we develop a healthy sense of enough? Here are a few suggestions. 1. Define your goals. What do you really want out of life? What kind of lifestyle would make you happy and fulfilled? Be specific. 2. Calculate your number. Based on your goals, what level of wealth would allow you to achieve them? This becomes your enough number. 3. Practice gratitude. Regularly take stock of what you already have. This can help counteract the tendency to always want more. 4. Avoid lifestyle inflation. As your income grows, resist the urge to automatically increase your spending. Instead, consider saving or investing the difference. 5. Find fulfillment outside of money. Cultivate relationships, pursue hobbies, and engage in meaningful work. The more satisfaction you find in non-financial areas of life, the less pressure you'll feel to derive all your happiness from wealth. Remember, the goal of building wealth isn't to have the most money, it's to have enough money to live the life you want. By developing a clear sense of enough, you can make financial decisions that truly serve your well-being rather than chasing an ever-moving target. As we near the end of our episode, let's talk about one of the most powerful ideas in Housel's book, the relationship between saving money and controlling your time. Housel argues that the highest dividend money pays is providing you with the ability to control your time. It's not about fancy cars or big houses, it's about the freedom to spend your days as you choose. To illustrate this, Housel shares his own approach to savings and financial independence. He and his wife made a decision early in their careers to live well below their means. As their incomes grew, they resisted the temptation to inflate their lifestyle. Instead, they saved a large portion of their earnings. Now, this might sound like a recipe for deprivation, but Housel argues that it's actually the opposite. By saving aggressively, they've bought themselves freedom. They have the flexibility to take career risks, to spend time with family, to pursue interests outside of work. In essence, they've used money to buy time. This approach turns traditional financial advice on its head. Instead of asking, "How can I make more money?" it encourages us to ask, "How can I gain more control over my time?" Here's why this shift in perspective is so powerful. 1. Time is non-renewable. You can always make more money, but you can't make more time. By using money to buy time, you're investing in the most precious resource you have. 2. Time control reduces stress. Much of the stress in our lives comes from feeling like we're not in control of our time. Financial freedom can alleviate this stress. 3. It aligns money with happiness. Research consistently shows that beyond a certain point, more money doesn't make us happier. But having control over our time consistently correlates with increased life satisfaction. So how can we put this idea into practice? Here are some strategies. 1. Reframe your savings. Instead of thinking of saving as depriving yourself now, think of it as buying freedom in the future. 2. Start small. Even if you can't save a large percentage of your income right away, start with what you can. Small amounts add up over time. 3. Increase your savings rate gradually. As your income grows, try to save a larger percentage. This allows you to enjoy some lifestyle inflation while still building your freedom fund. 4. Consider part-time or flexible work. If you're not ready for full financial independence, consider options that give you more control over your time, even if they pay less. 5. Use windfalls wisely. When you receive unexpected money, resist the urge to spend it all. Instead, see it as an opportunity to buy more freedom. Remember, the goal here isn't to save every penny and live like a miser. It's to be intentional about your spending and saving, aligning your financial decisions with what truly matters to you. By shifting our focus from accumulating wealth for its own sake to using money as a tool to control our time, we can create lives that are not just financially rich, but rich in the truest sense of the word. As we wrap up our exploration of the psychology of money, let's recap some of the key lessons we've covered. 1. Financial success is more about behavior than intelligence. It's not what you know, but how you act that determines your financial outcomes. 2. Luck and risk play bigger roles in our financial lives than we often acknowledge. Building in room for error is crucial. 3. Be wary of financial pessimism. While it often sounds smart, optimism has historically been the better bet. 4. Develop a clear sense of enough. Without it, you'll always be chasing more, often at the expense of your happiness and peace of mind. 5. Use money to buy control over your time. This is perhaps the highest dividend money can pay. These insights have the power to transform not just how you manage your money, but how you think about wealth, success, and what truly matters in life. Remember, good financial decisions aren't about making the most money, but about sleeping well at night. They're about aligning your use of money with your values and life goals. I encourage you to pick up a copy of The Psychology of Money and dive deeper into these ideas. Housel's clear writing and compelling stories make complex financial concepts accessible and engaging. You'll find the Amazon link to buy the book in the description of this episode. As you read, I encourage you to reflect on your own money story. What experiences have shaped your financial beliefs and behaviors? How can you apply these insights to make better financial decisions? Thank you for joining me on this journey through the psychology of money. Until next time, this is CEO's Library, the 1% bookshelf, reminding you that the best investment you can make is in your own financial education.